Welcome back. We're going to talk about angles formed by parallel lines and transversals. We've already talked about the basic relationships. Now we're going to get an idea of how the angles that are formed are actually related. So here we go. This is section 3.2. This is a postulate and a picture of that postulate. Postulate 3-2-1. Probably a good idea to write this down. You can put it in your cards for use on your test, or you can just have it in your notes to use as a reference for yourself. Corresponding angles postulate. If two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of corresponding angles are congruent. I'm going to mark a couple of things here. These are my parallel lines. I notice this is true because I have these markings on them. And T is going to be our transversal. Corresponding angles are congruent. So, we remember that corresponding angles look like this. Like angle 1 and angle 3 are corresponding angles. Okay? This one and this one. Also corresponding angles could be 5 and 7. Okay, that might be a little bit difficult to read, but we've got a couple other pairs. We've got 6 and 8. Okay, and we also have angle 2 and angle 4. Okay, so those are the four pairs. So these are going to be our corresponding angles. Now, so the corresponding angles are congruent. How can I write this? Well, if instead of this and, I wanted to be more specific, I could say that these are congruent, like this. This is the congruent sign. It's an equal sign with a little tilde above it. Okay, so that's what I've got. That's the first postulate. So when we use this to solve, we're going to find each angle measure. Here we go. To find ABC. Now let's note that this goes with this picture up here. This one goes with this picture, and this one goes with this picture. Okay. ABC. This is the angle that I want to find. So x degrees. Now, if I look at how 80 is related here, it is obviously a corresponding angle, but I notice that I have parallel lines here. And so I know that x degrees is equal to 80 degrees because they are corresponding angles. Okay? So let's look at DEF. Once again, I have corresponding angles. So what I can say is 2x minus 45 minus 45 is equal to x plus 30. Okay? Because these two angles are corresponding angles. Notice, they are related. They're in the upper right-hand corner of my x for each of them. Okay? So when I solve, I'm going to add 45 to both sides and subtract x. So I get x is equal to 75. I'm not done yet because now the measure of angle DEF is equal to x plus 30. That's going to give me x, which is 75, plus 30 is equal to 105. So we have to make sure we finish the problem. Okay? Now, QRS down below here. Once again, this is pretty straight up. This is pretty much how we go. So, if I have 118 and x, they are corresponding. So I've got them in the left bottom. So the measure of QRS is going to be this part. So I know that x is equal to 118. So that means x plus the measure of angle QRS is equal to 180. Because look, these form a line here, people. They form a line. So QRS, which is this angle here that I marked, okay, and x are equal to 180. So if I have 118 plus the measure of angle QRS is equal to 180, then I know that the measure of angle QRS has got to be equal to 62 degrees, because together they form 180. If I put 62 in here, 118 in here, got a match made in heaven right there, 180. That's one of our beautiful pairs that we learned about, supplementary angles, linear pairs. Okay? 3 other theorems. I would encourage you to take a minute right now, pause and write these down. I'm going to explain them in just 1 second. Okay, so pause here and write them down. I'll explain in a minute. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and explain. If 2 parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then pairs of alternate interior angles are congruent. So, angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Because these lines are parallel, notice I've got my little parallel markings here, so they're congruent. Okay? Alternate exterior angles works the same way. Angle 6 is congruent to angle 8, and angle 5 is congruent to angle 7. Parallel lines, gotta have them. Same side interior. If 2 lines are cut by transversal, then 2 pairs of same side interior angles are supplementary. Little bit different, okay? Supplementary, so that means the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 4 is equal to 180, and the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 is equal to 180. Okay? Parallel lines here. Notice what I've got. Those are the relationships. And so now we have 4 different relationships that we can use in order to try to talk about these angles. A lot of this stuff comes up on standardized tests to get into college. So this is very important. I'm very passionate about these kinds of angles. So here we go. Let's solve a couple problems. If I want to find DEF, I'm going to mark it in red. I'm trying to find DEF. I'm trying to find this angle here. Okay? And if I'm trying to find that angle there, I need to use my context clues. I know that I'm going to find angle X. Well, I know that the measure of angle DEF plus X is equal to 180 because they are a linear pair. Okay, you see how I worked that? Okay, so I'm finding DEF, this angle here, and I know that they're a linear pair. So, the measure of angle X is equal to, sorry, X is not the angle. We're just going to say X is equal to 125. Because, look, they are alternate exterior angles. They are outside exterior of the 2 parallel lines, and they're alternating the transversal. So X equal to 125 by the alternate exterior angles. Okay, so now I'm going to substitute in right here. So I'm going to have the measure of angle DEF plus 125 is equal to 180. So I'll subtract 125. Gone. The measure of angle DEF is 55 degrees. Okay? See how I worked that? I'm using these relationships. Now, TUS, TUS. So I've got this angle here that I want. Okay? I've got parallel lines. Ask yourself, the information that's given, how are they related? I have 2 of the same side interior angles. Remember, same side interior angles are supplementary. So what that means is I'm going to have 13x plus 23x is equal to 180. Same side interior angles, okay? So now I'm going to combine like terms. I'll have 36x is equal to 180. Divide by 36 on both sides. I'm going to have x is equal to 5. Now, I'm not done because I need the measure of angle TUS. TUS is 23x, so I'm going to have 23 times 5 is equal to 115. Have to complete the problem. Have to complete the problem. Right? That's it. That's using these angles and supplementaries and parallel lines to form these relationships. We'll see you next time.